you. And I am going to start with you being born on the road. For those who aren't aware,
Mm.
your parents are Slim, Dusty, and Joy McKean. And I say they are your parents because even though they're not on this planet at the moment, they are somewhere. I always think that. From what you tell us in the song, at the time Joy gave birth to you, Slim was already up the road playing a show. So tell us about that.
Exactly right. Exactly right. This is 1958, and at that stage they were doing the agricultural show circuit. So they worked on the showgrounds. So the big tents, show alley, all the people up the front spruiking and roll up, and they were working, moving up the coastline. So you do Sydney, you work your way up to Brisbane. Got to Rockhampton. Mum was pregnant. Rockhampton thought, right, I better stop here. Her mother had come up and was staying with her. But the show itself was going on to Cairns. So Slim was the star of the show. So he went up to Cairns. And exactly, I was born in Rockhampton, no dramas. A week later, we got on a train, apparently, with my mum and my grandmother and a heap of cane cutters from Innisfail, and we travelled up the coastline to Cairns and rejoined the show. And yeah, that was then 6-7 years of travelling non-stop.
So that suggests that Joy was 9 months pregnant and about to give birth and still performing right up until the time you
Yeah,
arrived.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, she would have been absolutely still running the show and still performing. I've no doubt. Yeah.
She was an extraordinarily adept human being. And obviously, you and your sister Anne have inherited a lot of the characteristics of both of your parents, the musical characteristics and otherwise. But I also wonder, growing up around parents who were like that, who just were taking things in their stride and traveling so much, maybe you thought all parents were like that, but I do think they were exceptional.
Well, yeah, but you're right. I mean, I just grew up thinking that was a normal sort of lifestyle, and uh, this is why, with some of the songs I've written, I am now looking back with the hindsight of age to actually realise that it was quite a unusual and extraordinary upbringing. Even later on, even after I wasn't permanently with the show, and because I saw the music business, as I say, from the sidelines. I watched all the shows from the side of the stage, and I saw what was going on backstage. So I could see all the people running around, getting changed, putting stuff on, all the shenanigans that went on. So I wasn't. I guess that's one of the things. I was never starry-eyed about the music business. I saw the hard work, the hard yakka, the setting up, the pulling down, the traveling, the miles. So it looked like a job to me, and I just thought that was a pretty normal sort of job and a pretty normal sort of lifestyle. And the trouble was, I then went to boarding school. So again, I was sort of cocooned in boarding school. I didn't really have any great experience with other people's normal 9 to 5 sort of parenting, because all the kids I knew were actually there from the rural areas in particular. Also had a lot of kids from Papua New Guinea and the islands were boarders. And so it was only later in life that I got a bit of a taste of what people thought was normal upbringing. I didn't think it was abnormal, but to other people, they probably thought it was.
I mean, given that it was all you were used to, obviously you just took it in your stride. But there's always a point where kids become a little bit embarrassed about their parents and what they do. Was there a phase that you went through where you thought, "Oh no, like I can't believe they do this"?
Not really. I got teased by certain people, particularly, from country music and stuff like that, when before it became more of a mainstream, and before Slim and Joy sort of moved from being country music performers to being Australian icons. There was a real shift in public perception about Slim and Joy around about the late 80s into the 90s, where they became cultural icons, as well as musicians. I don't think my parents have any idea of the amount of physical fights I got into with a few, bullies or loudmouth people having a go at me about my parents. I certainly arced up if that happened. I wasn't someone to sit back and just take it. So It didn't happen very often, and my broken nose didn't come from that. It came from football.
Well, except maybe having those fights toughened you up for football. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know. It's yeah. But look, it did I? Oh, gosh, I don't know. Probably did at some stage in my teenage years. I guess I did a bit because I didn't want to learn guitar from Dad, and I always, he was trying to teach me chords and stuff like that. But I wanted to play guitar like George Harrison or Eric Clapton. So that was my touchstones of when I was a teenager. That was the sort of music I was leaning towards. What I should have realised that could have led on to me playing guitar like Jerry Reed or Don Rich, the guitarist for Buck Owens. These amazing country musicians that I should have realised how well that could have put me instead, and I've been catching up ever since.